Welcome back to the Dork side. I'm the Dork in the road. Here I am, sitting on top of Harley Pan America. Gonna do a test ride, first impressions video. Thank you, Angie.
Absolutely.
Do you mind being on YouTube?
No, I don't mind at all.
This is Angie from Harley Davidson. She's a rock star. She's making it happen for us today. Yes.
Enjoy your ride.
Okay, thank you. I definitely will. Boy, that kickstand's really far up. That's right, everyone. I'm the Dork in the road, and I want to be your internet riding buddy, so please consider subscribing. We are here at the Giant Loop ride. I am sitting on top of Harley Pan America, and you're going to get yourself a first impressions test ride video right now. Lots of cool people on this ride. This is That Plated Life. You should subscribe to him. Chris and Nathan from For the Love of Knobs are up there. That's Chris doing her short-legger technique.
Let's start out in rain, and then you can switch it, okay?
Okay. All right. That is Duck Fan. Oh, okay. Well, first impressions, it does not feel as big as it is. Right off the bat, I can feel it. It does not feel as big as it is, but comfortable. It feels like kind of nimble, but it's narrow, which is gonna make standing up on it really easy, I bet. Oh, okay. I don't like how low the bars are. I would definitely want risers if this was the bike I was gonna have, but I'm surprised. I thought it would feel big, heavy, and unwieldy. It does not feel big, heavy, and unwieldy at all. Check-in booth here at the Giant Loop ride. Pretty cool to have a chance to ride this brand new off-road adventure motorcycle. It is in rain mode. He didn't like that I put it in sport mode. I'm gonna go ahead and switch it to sport mode. I don't think they want us having it in sport mode on the highway. This is not a guided ride. I thought it was gonna be. Interesting. Well, I need to wait for Duck Fan, even though I don't know where the hell we're going. It is gorgeous out here. The seat height is adaptive, so he adjusted it so I'm flat footing right now, but when I take off, it'll lift up. Do you know the route? Because I did not hear the whole spiel at all. Oh yeah, sport mode, quite a difference. Holy crap. That is a significant difference. Damn, son.
Well, as you can probably hear from the audio up to this point, something is up with my GoPro mic adapter. It's only working about half the time, and so when I got out on the highway here, the wind noise was so bad you couldn't hear what I was saying. Also, pay no attention to the speedometer at this point. I didn't know the route, and I was trying to catch up with the group so that I could follow them, and I maybe went a little faster than I meant to. Here, I'm covering it up, so now there's no evidence that anything untoward happened. So while I'm riding, I just want to give you some background on the bike, and I'll kind of give you my impressions, the pros and cons, and then my final verdict after my time on the Pan America. So if you're not super familiar with the Pan America, it is a 1250cc V-twin adventure bike with 150 horsepower and 94 foot-pounds of torque. Harley claims it'll get 46 miles to the gallon. The seat height on their website is 31.8 inches laden with a 180-pound rider, but elsewhere I've seen that it's actually 34.2 or 35.2 inches, depending on what position you put the seat in. But the thing is, certain models, like the one I'm riding here, have that adaptive ride height, and so it can be lower when you're stopped and higher when you're moving, so just keep in mind that's highly variable. It's got 8.3 inches of ground clearance, 5.6 gallons of fuel capacity, it weighs 534 pounds, and has that beautiful, as you can see, color TFT touchscreen display. Price is $17,319 starting for the standard, and the special starts at $19,999. Both versions of the bikes have a ton of electronics, including cornering enhanced electronically linked braking, cornering enhanced ABS, cornering enhanced traction control system, and cornering enhanced drag torque slip control system. They're really, really proud of their cornering enhanced, obviously. They both have hill hold control. They both have 5 ride modes. You saw me use a couple there, sport mode and rain mode, as well as 2 custom modes that you can set up. On the special, you have the option to add adaptive ride height, which gives you an extra 1 or 2 inches closer to the ground, and it lowers when you stop and raises back up when you take off. You can also get semi-active suspension, TPMS, and their really cool adaptive headlight technology. So my first impressions of the bike, you kind of heard it a little bit as I was going around the gravel circle there, but it definitely feels narrower than I thought it would be. I thought for some reason it would be wide and unwieldy. It's a 1250, it's the biggest motorcycle, or one of the biggest motorcycles I've ever been on, and it feels narrow just like my Africa Twin does. It's kind of hard to stand on. The tank is slippery and it's pretty low because the seat height is so low. The pegs are really close to the seat, and so when you stand up, my knees are up higher than I'd like them to be, and the tank is pretty slippery against my knees, so it was pretty hard to stand up and grip it with my knees. You're going to get a view of that here in a second. We're going to do some tooling around on the gravel and playing around standing up here at the general store in Crane. The looks, I think people are going to love or hate the looks. I think it looks cool. It kind of looks like a Cylon from the 80s Battlestar Galactica, which I think is neat, but I really feel like it's going to be a love it or hate it type situation with this bike. The clutch on mine felt really funky, like the engagement point was very, very far out. I'm guessing that could be adjusted, but I hope that's not how they all are because I want that fine clutch control pretty close to the bar if I'm doing anything off-road. The seat is very, very wide and flat. It's a very comfortable seat. And the kickstand is in a super weird spot, as you saw at the beginning of the video, me trying to get it, and I couldn't find it. It's very, very far forward, and I think that's to keep it out of the way of the center stand, but it's unlike any other bike I've ever ridden. So the pros, the things I really liked about the Pan America, one is it is insanely smooth. The bike is so easy to ride, easy to shift. It accelerates very smoothly and comfortably. Here I'm playing around on the gravel a little bit, messing around with the foot position. It shifts very smooth. None of these things are surprising on a motorcycle that costs $20,000, but just know that you feel it the second that you get on it. I played around here in a little bit of dirt. I wanted to try at least a little bit of actual dirt. This is kind of some loose stuff over there. The bike does not feel unwieldy or heavy. I really expected a 1200cc motorcycle to feel big and heavy. I've ridden some smaller bikes than this that felt big and unwieldy, and it does not feel like a Harley Davidson. It does not feel like a big heavy boat. The weight is centered, it is low, and it feels really, really kind of nimble, especially for its size. And that's both on the road and on the gravel. I was impressed by how easy it was to ride on the gravel. The windscreen seems to do a good job of protecting you. It's about the right size, but it's not super in your way. I was able to duck down behind it pretty easily, even at pretty high speeds on this test ride. The ride modes are cool, and there is a huge difference between rain mode and sport mode, which is the only two modes that I tried, but they asked us to put it in sport, or asked us to put it in rain mode there on the gravel, but I flipped it to sport mode as soon as I got on the highway, and it was like a completely different motorcycle. That adaptive ride height, in my opinion, is a real game changer, especially for shorter riders or riders who are new to taller bikes. It gives them a chance to gain some confidence and build up their skills, and then eventually you can turn it off if you want to. This bike gets up and goes. I don't know if you saw earlier, but allegedly I was doing 97 before I knew it, just trying to catch up to the group. Of course, we filmed this in Mexico, so all these things are legal there. But others who shall remain nameless, maybe the one who's zooming away from me in the distance there in the video, got it up over 125. So this bike goes fast. It is smooth and easy to ride, very stable at those high speeds. It's a great road bike, a great street bike. It's fun. You don't lose any fun factor on the road with this motorcycle. And another cool thing is there's no valve checks on this bike. The valves don't need to be adjusted. You don't need to crack open the engine to get in there. I thought that's pretty cool. It saves you some maintenance costs. So some cons, what are the things I don't like about it? Well, my biggest concern is that it is a first generation model from a manufacturer with a, shall we say, inconsistent reputation for reliability. So I would be reluctant to sink a bunch of money into this first gen. Maybe in a few years when they've had a chance to identify any persistent issues, let other people beta test it for you. But that would be one concern for me personally when it came to buying this motorcycle. It's also a very complicated machine. It has a lot of electronics. There's a lot of systems, and to me, a lot of systems means a lot of failure points. And so that is a concern. That's something that I enjoy a more simpler motorcycle for that reason. It's not comfortable for standing in stock form. The bars are too low. The pegs are too high. The tank is not in a great place for standing. I just don't think it's really designed for standing. They're billing it as an off-road bike, but it doesn't feel like they've made the concessions to make off-road comfortable and as capable as possible. It definitely feels like a bike that was designed more to be better on the road. The low seat height makes the pegs really close to the seat. I personally felt like my knees were pretty bent. My feet were directly underneath me, but my knees were bent a lot more than I'm used to on my Africa Twin or my DRZ. I could feel a little bit of a cramp in my hips and my knees on a short ride. Duck Fan very much complained about that. He's about 6'4". He really, really was feeling it, and so it can be a little uncomfortable in the seated position because the seat height is not super high. So on longer rides or taller riders may have issues with that. And it has 5,000 mile service intervals, which is not terrible. That's really good, especially compared to some of its competitors. But it's not Africa Twin length either, so just something to keep in mind. So overall, my impressions of this bike, and stay tuned after I give them to you, because I asked the Harley guy and a couple other people there what they thought of it. So that's at the end of this video. But overall, it's a very impressive machine. It's a brand new bike. It costs $20,000. Of course it's impressive. It's very impressive. Nobody's going to sit on this bike, ride it, and be like, meh. It's fun. It's cool. It has a lot of cool gadgets. It's easy to ride. It's a very impressive bike. I think it's a very capable touring bike that can go off-road, but to me, it doesn't feel like a primarily off-road motorcycle. It feels like an adventure tourer with some mild off-road capability. Now, I didn't get to ride it off-road much, so take that with a grain of salt, but it doesn't feel like a true ADV bike to me. It feels like an adventure tourer. If you want to talk about it the same way we talk about tires, say the Africa Twin is a 50-50 bike. It's good off the road and on the road. The Pan America really feels more like a 75-25. Like, it's designed to crush miles on the road, and if you need to hit a gravel road, you can. But to me, it does not feel like a super capable, you can ride it over anything with confidence off-road bike. And at the price, I wouldn't feel comfortable maybe taking it on some of the stuff that I'm more comfortable taking my Africa Twin on. It has luxury and features. It's got so many gadgets and cool things, and it has a price to match. It's a bike for people that can afford to spend $20,000 on a motorcycle. It's a great bike that will appeal to a lot of people. I don't think it's a great bike for me personally. Now, don't take that as a condemnation. I think the right type of person, the person they're marketing to, is going to love this motorcycle. I personally want a bike that is more capable with less fluff, less systems, less failure points. I want a bike that's more capable on the road and doesn't have all the other stuff that I don't necessarily need or want. I can get a more capable bike that's perfectly comfortable and does everything I want for half the price. I know because I have one. So as an Africa Twin rider, the Pan America seems like a lot of extra stuff that I personally don't want as much. Now, if you want all that stuff, it's probably going to be a great bike for you, and you should look into it. Either way, I recommend if you get the opportunity to test ride the thing, you definitely should, because it is very impressive. It's a great machine. For their first foray into the ADV world, I couldn't be more impressed with this bike. I really think it competes with the Multistrada, with the high-end GSs. That's what it's for. That's the people they're going after. And so some of us dual sport low-end bike ADV riders, maybe it's less appealing to us because they're not trying to sell it to us. That's not what it's about. So I'm going to fast forward to when I got back to the hot springs at the Giant Loop ride, and because I asked the Harley people there for their impressions and their thoughts on the bike, and I think I got a little footage of that. So let's take a look at that.
That's just the center stand. It's up here. Weird as hell. Okay, the kickstand's hard to get to. I'll give you that. What'd you think, man?
I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Plenty of power.
Yes.
Coming from the dirt bikes, it certainly feels more stable.
Yeah, well, it does a lot of that work for you. It's adjusting on the fly and stuff.
Surprisingly nimble.
I thought that too.
Yeah, me too.
It feels way narrower than I expected.
Right?
I thought it would feel very wide. Do you guys want to say anything about the bikes for the channel?
Most all the dealerships have demos. Come ride them, because that's the only way you're going to be able to judge it. I've got an 1190R KTM, and even though I'm Harley, I'm also a KTM fanboy. And I gotta say, in 14 when I got my KTM, if this was out, I would have hands down bought it over the KTM, and I'm shocked that I'm saying that.
Right, that's a stunning endorsement.
It is. I love the adjustability. If you're shorter of stature, the 3 different seats that they offer, and each seat is 2-position adjustable. The adaptive ride height is fantastic. If you're a taller person, you don't necessarily need the adaptive ride height, but it's just nice having all the adjustability of the bike and how mass centralized it is. This is like about 30 pounds dry, heavier than my KTM, but it sure doesn't feel it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that heavy.
It doesn't feel it.
I would agree with that.
The only thing I'd probably add to what you said, which I thought was really great, was that, I'm a little bit shorter stature than you are, so is my husband, and I can't even begin to think about riding that KTM and most of the adventure bikes because the seat heights are so high, and And I kind of like to do that stuff too, grew up on dirt bikes. And when I got on our demo, which has the adjustable ride height in it, I didn't even put the lower seat on it. I was shocked that my feet were on the ground. And you can feel it.
And you were
raise up.
flat-footed on
Yeah.
the ground. It wasn't like she was tippy-toeing.
And I wasn't wearing my big boots or anything like that. So you can feel it come down, and then you can feel it go up as you go. I was really impressed with the bike. I was more impressed than I thought I was going to be with the bike. It's so nimble, and each corner I was going a little deeper into the corner. Not that everybody should do that, but I was going deeper into the corner because it just picks up and goes, makes that turn, and you're out and you're off. So
The stability of the bike, I really, I haven't had a chance to go off-road on our demo yet. But the stability with the bike is fantastic, I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for the opportunity.
You betcha.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Riding, that's
Yeah.
super exciting.
What did you think, Duck Fan?
It is a fantastic street bike, very comfortable. It's too small for me.
Yeah, I felt cramped, so you must.
Bar risers at least, and I could use another inch of seat height to be more comfortable. Does not really feel like a Harley to me.
No.
It sounds like one, sort of. It's definitely not as thumpy.
Yep. Hope you enjoyed this test ride of the Harley Pan America. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Maybe give us a subscribe while you're at it. But for now, and as always, I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.